long-standing either problem. Hey everyone, and welcome. We're just see we're going live. So, Samara, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. My name is Samara Reaño, and I am a technical account manager here at AWS. Happy New Year to everyone, with this being our first stream of the year.
Welcome. Hi everyone, I'm Matt Burke. I'm a principal technical account manager here at AWS. And welcome to AWS Tech Tales. This is the show where we talk about real-life customer issues and what you can do to solve them. Now, generally here at Tech Tales, if this is your first time tuning in, if so, welcome. If it's not your first time, please hit us up in the chat. Let us know that you are there. We will probably recognize your username, especially those of you that are joining us on Twitch. But generally at Tech Tales, we have three types of episodes. We have the type of show where we have a live demo going of a broken environment, and we try to troubleshoot with you in the chat, try to figure out what is going on. Second type of episode that we have, which is coming up later next month, is we bring guests onto the show, either to help troubleshoot live, to tell their tech tale about a real issue that they faced with a customer and what they did to fix it. And we have demos that you can help us with during those episodes. But then today, we have a third type of episode, which is something that's been either a long-standing problem, issue, or just like a bit of things, something to maintain. And then how do we fix that? How did we fix it? And usually that's with a new feature. And so today we're talking about S3 Metadata. DJ, my man Eric, checking in from DC. Wow, welcome. So Zamara, what do you know about S3 Metadata? I'd have to put you on the spot. It's been so. By the way, we've been off stream for so long that we're a bit rusty. We're settling into it, so we need a little S3 icebreaker for Zamara.
Yeah. So I know that there is two types. It's what we call the system-defined metadata, and then we also have the user-defined metadata. So, Joe, first-time viewer, Chicago, hi.
It's cold here. I'm in New York. It's also very cold here. It just snowed yesterday. We're getting more snow later in the week. Welcome, John.
Yeah, welcome. Thank you for joining us today. So yeah, back to your question. So system control metadata is such as like object creation, the date that is system control, which means that only Amazon S3 can modify the date value. And then to kind of give you an example of the user controlled one, it will be like storage class configuration for the object and whether the object has server-side encryption enabled. So those are kind of like the details around the metadata that you're asking about.
That was way more technical than I thought. How you're going to talk? Oh, someone's talking, or someone's jumping ahead. Says, "What's S3 inventory?" We will get there. We will get there.
Oh, hi from New York City. Wondering if it's snowing in New York. You're in New York, Matt. So is it?
Not today. It was snowing yesterday. Wow, we have a lot of great people checking in. Talitha, hi.
We have different time zones.
Irshad, welcome. I know it's super late at night there. I hope this is gonna bring a little bit of technical knowledge to make it worth your while. So first, I want to introduce folks a little bit to Tech Tales. How you can reach out to us. We'll try to distribute this link throughout all the different chats. We're streaming on a lot of new platforms today. So this is our landing page. This is where we keep our history of what's going on with Tech Tales, and where you can sign up for a calendar reminder to tune back in every week, because we will be here every week until June. So we advertise our upcoming episodes here, and we also have our show notes where we link to our different episode highlights and any of the links that we cover within the episode. So if you've got to run, if you're not here the whole time, that's totally fine. You can come check us out at the show notes, and we will be there for the rest of the recording.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. If you miss one of the episodes and you were looking forward to it, things happen at the last minute, you can always come back to this page and watch it, or you could rewatch if you're trying to do like, for any of the content that is here. So don't feel that if you miss the stream, you pretty much missed out on the content that was presented.
So to dive into our tech tale for today, Zamara, I went back in time. I went back in time because the feature that we're going to be talking about today that solves this is actually something called S3 metadata. Samara gave me this very great example of the metadata that comes with S3, but then we have something that's actually called S3 metadata that we'll dive into. And the problem, I don't know, whatever words I want to describe here is, how do we get all that metadata that Samara described, and how do we query it? How do we get access to it? Because what I love about S3 is whether you're the smallest developer that's running a bucket with a static website, or your giant enterprise that is running so many buckets across thousands of accounts, petabytes of data, how do you know what is where in what and how and what key is it encrypted in? It's so much to keep a handle on.
Right.
So where do you go? So I wanted to go back. How was this done back in the day? So we traveled back in time. We're going to travel back in time together.
Okay.
But what year are we traveling back to? When I went to see what did people do about S3 metadata back in the day. Samara, do you have a guess on what year we're traveling to?
Oh, let's see the options. We have 06, we have 2010, 2015, 2020. I guess I will go back the furthest and say 2006.
Okay. And then folks, if you're in the chat, especially if you're in the Twitch chat, put a number in and it will register that for us. I don't know about the other platforms.
Abel Martinez from Mexico. Hello. Welcome. Thank you for joining.
Welcome. So any other guesses from folks on Twitch or elsewhere? 2006 is an interesting one. 2006 was the year that S3 was released, actually.
We have Eric. We have another 2006.
Yeah, Sam knew that trivia.
Yeah, and then Eric says 2020.
I don't. Here's the thing. Does anyone really want to travel back to 2020?
I don't think the majority of us want to.
So, we got two. Yeah, DJ Ryan Eric says not at all.
Not at
all. So I will say, I'll reveal the answer, which is we're going back to 2015. We're going back 10 years ago. Why are we going back 10 years ago?
2015 was 10 years ago. That just blew my mind.
Yeah, I know. I want to say hi to the folks in the chat. Stephanie, hi. Welcome to
Hi,
Tech Tales.
Stephanie. Welcome.
Rashad, hello. Yes, 2006. Yes. So I went back to 2015 because I was searching for what were folks doing about S3 metadata back in the day. And I found two blog posts, one from July and then one from August. And this one talks about building big data interfaces with Lambda. And there's a big complicated architecture to then query S3 through this Node.js app. And I really didn't want to go with that. But I did want to look at this is exactly the use case that we were trying to solve today, which is building and maintaining S3 metadata index without servers. So how did they do this back 10 years ago, which is crazy to think about? Well, if you scroll down, and we will share this blog post in the chat in case you are an AWS historian of sorts and you want to go back to see how people did it back in the caveman days. They did this. This is probably the easiest way to describe it. Is back in 2015, you had your data collectors. They put objects in an S3 bucket, and that S3 bucket, it was an object creation event, which triggered a Lambda, which then put an index entry in your DynamoDB table. And then you could query, if you go through the blog post, they're saying, here's what you can do to query. These are the things that you would find within the DynamoDB, and you can performance tune it, and you can query DynamoDB. So this doesn't seem like a crazy pattern to me in the year 2025. Samara, what do you think?
I mean, not. It's the same thing that I was thinking. It's more of like a straightforward kind of situation where like when you're seeing this structure, it doesn't like send you alarm bells. Or it's like, whoa, this is gonna take like so much for me to try to like configure. But it's still maybe room for improvement for sure.
I like Hepta5's comment. Wait, people born in 2007 just turned 18. The march of time, it comes for us all. So yeah, this isn't a terrible architecture, but there is a couple areas of improvement, I think. One is, well, now we've got to maintain a DynamoDB table. That's probably the hardest thing of all. I got to pay for DynamoDB. It's great that I'm serverless. Love that. But I also have to manage and maintain an AWS Lambda function. I'm assuming that you've had to update that Lambda function a few times in terms of like the version of engine that it's running on since 2015. But I could be wrong. You tell me in the chat if you've been managing a Lambda function for the past 10 years. I would love to know.
What is that like? Give us your feedback.
Yeah, what was that like? So this is interesting to me because it doesn't seem like it's too much of a problem. But then I started to think about it and said, well, and you folks let me know in the chat, but like, okay, this is cool, but this is just one bucket. So you have to then scale this. You have to then do this for tons of buckets across your enterprise. And it seems like it could be easier. ZXDJ says last minute Python migrations. Yes. Oh gosh. Thankfully, we've gotten a lot quicker at AWS here with releasing the new Python, versions when they're available. So it will go away. So okay, we went back to 10 years. We're gonna time travel a bit further now towards the present.
Okay.
So I have another question for folks. So another feature launched, and there's a lot of features that probably help with this, but the one in particular we'll go into, and actually
it was
scroll up in the chat. It might have already been mentioned. But give us, if you're on Twitch, give us a vote. 1, 2, 3, or 4.
Yeah, if it's, you didn't see that yet, what is the feature that was launched in 2026 that could help with this problem?
2016. 2026 is next year. Now we're giving away roadmap secrets, Samara. Yeah, let us know in the chat. Okay, 2. All right, so someone scrolled up. That's good.
Yeah.
We
have another
so
one.
I think the cat's out of the bag on this one. Where S3 inventory helped.
Okay, so tell us about S3 inventory, Matt.
Well, funnily enough, I decided to then go back in time to 2021, and we have this blog post that makes it seem slightly easier. Maybe, actually, I don't more than slightly easy. I think it made it a lot better than 2015. So if I look at what it's asking me to do, you configure S3 inventory, and you just query in Athena. So I'm not going to go through this whole thing. I'm actually show you. I've got my account ready to go here. And so I've got this Better Ollie bucket. For folks that have not seen a Tech Tales episode, this is a bucket of photos of my dog, Ollie.
Which I think that we could hear a few moments ago.
Yes. And so I decided that I wanted to set up an S3 inventory for the Better Ollie bucket.
Okay.
So what you do is you come to management, you come to inventory configurations, you create a inventory configuration. I've got one here. And basically what I'm saying is, if I edit this, I'm sending it to another bucket.
All right.
Giving it permissions daily or weekly to track this metadata, what format I want it in, and then all these different fields. And that gets dumped into a report that is in this bucket, the best Ollie bucket ever.
Okay.
And then I did a little prefix mess up. But so then I have all these inventory reports that have been generating for
X amount of time
over the weekend.
Right.
And which is cool because then now what I can do is in S3, I have a little inventory table, just like the blog tells me to do. And I can start to query things about the bucket.
Okay.
So for example,
show us how that works.
If I just wanted to see what types of data I get out of S3 inventory, I'm scanning across the last few days of metadata, and you can see that I've got what bucket it is, the key, the version ID. Is this the latest? So there's a couple different versions in here. The size, model. So there's a bunch of all my metadata. So now I can query it. I can do, I can do some reporting. So I can. Oh, go ahead, Zamar.
I was just going to say what I really like about the configuration too is that you have a choice of like how often do you want this to be pretty much like analyzed, right? So we could do it like weekly. It just depends on your use case. If it's something like, for example, with your bucket of pictures and you don't want to do like a daily, monitoring on it, and you just do like, let's just monthly or weekly, it's a lot better when you're going through and actually querying this metadata in the long run. So I like that flexibility.
And so you can, sort this by size. You can see what the most, of course, the most.
Oh, we have someone joining
size.
from Dubai. Hi, thank you for joining.
So you can see the size of each individual file. I didn't make the query any more complex than that, but you can. So you can get basic stuff. You can run last modified dates. Like this is what you could do back in 2021.
Okay.
But as of the end of last year, we made this better. Now, I'm sure if you know in the chat, there's maybe other ways that you could accomplish this. Maybe you built your own.
Right.
Maybe you had your own inventory files.
Yes.
But there's actually a different way to do this now. And that is called S3 Metadata. Just that's what it's called. Sometimes we make names that are not descriptive of what they are, but S3 Metadata. So tell us in the comments, have you heard of S3 Metadata? This is a new reInvent 2024 release. And I figured it would be fun to spend some time today building it together. And so I will pull up another console window.
Or if some of our viewers have already kind of been looking into this, drop it in the chat. If you haven't heard of it before, let us know as well. This is the first time you're hearing. For those of you that are just joining us and they have never watched our stream, you can ask us questions during the stream. We like to pause and look at our comments to make sure that we're addressing the questions. So don't feel like you have to hold your questions towards the end of the stream. Please feel free to drop them in the chat and we'll bring them forward.
So, folks, if you want to follow along, we will provide a workshop link at the end of this. And I love Tech with Lucy. Tech with Lucy's great. So again, this is a new hot topic, so I'm sure she probably has covered it. So we've got something new in the S3 console, and you can see we've got something called table buckets, right? And so table buckets, I don't know, Zamara, have you heard of table buckets before?
No. I was just going to ask you.
What the hell? It's very rare that we get new types of buckets, right?
Right.
So table buckets, I mean, as it's saying in the console, is a new type of bucket that's integrated with AWS Analytics Service. So it's running Apache Iceberg in the background, but you don't need to know all that for our use case. We don't have to really talk about big data today, unless someone wants to ask a question in the chat. All you need to know is I'm going to create a new table bucket, and this is going to be what I use for S3 metadata going forward.
Sounds good.
Now, the funny thing about table buckets is it actually says it needs to be unique within the account for this AWS region.
Okay.
So, Zamara, how is that different from a normal S3 bucket?
It doesn't have to be a global unique name. It's only account specific. So that's wonderful.
It is wonderful. I don't have to worry about, it's like when you make up new passwords.
15 different names.
So, and then I'm going to do this enable integration. So again, it's going to automatically integrate with Athena, Redshift, EMR when I create this bucket.
Okay. So it's done for you. You don't have to go through the steps.
You do this once, right? And so this is once for potentially all of your buckets in this account or in your organization if you want. So we created a table bucket. Cool. What do we do with that? How do we get to solving our metadata use case? Like, because again, the other thing that you brought up, Zamara, is say table buckets 5 times fast. Maybe at the end of the episode. Is you said daily might be too much, weekly might be better, right?
Right.
But maybe you want this to be real time.
Oh.
Like maybe you need to know where all your objects are because of AI. And you need to know where they are at all times. You need to have the most up-to-date copy of that.
Okay.
So
fair.
That is where inventory starts to lose steam, and that is where this metadata will come in. So now we got this table bucket, and I got a bunch of these general purpose buckets that have been created here. Please, how is table bucket different from the S3 bucket that we know? So that's a great question, Gwes. So the table bucket is specifically for analytics use cases, specifically for using things like S3 metadata. So we'll show this right here. So if we go into our bucket and we go to now this new metadata tab, we can create a metadata configuration and then put it in the table bucket. And that table bucket is instantly queryable by any query engine that supports Iceberg. So that's Athena, QuickSight, Spark, and we're going to show Athena and we're going to show QuickSight today. So I already have my table bucket ready to go.
I have another question for you, Matt. How different are they from Glue Data Catalog?
So it's integrated with Glue in terms, like you'll see the data catalog in there, and I'll show it in a moment.
Sounds good.
Though, depending on my access in this workshop account, I might have to do a workaround. We'll see.
All right. Oh.
It doesn't like my... Oops, sorry. I did dashes instead of underscores.
Yeah.
So I'm creating this metadata, and then it literally says just go to Athena and you can query this immediately.
We have a question. Is the table bucket made written in real time or periodically?
This is real time. So that's what's cool about this. And so what I'm going to do next while this is creating, it should. Yep, now it's active.
There you go. Okay.
Is actually give myself permissions.
Okay.
So the permissions are actually done, at least this is the way that I'm going to do it today, through lake formation. So this is how you can give your data analysts access to data within your data lake. So I'm going to give myself access to the catalog. So I've got, this is the catalog for my own role. I'm going to give myself access to this bucket. How am I going to do that? Named catalog resources. Here's my catalog, the S3 table bucket, and all tables within that.
Okay.
Did I go that wasn't too fast, right?
No, not at all.
And then what permissions am I going to have for today? Just select describe so that I can query the bucket. And then I'm going to grant those permissions to myself. But I didn't pick myself. So first, let me do that. I'm the participant.
Okay.
And so now I've got
refresh
these
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So are IAM roles integrated with this lake formation catalog, giving the analysts that require permissions?
Yeah. So it can be IAM roles. It can be Identity Center. It could be SAML. It could be external accounts. This is only slightly less complicated than filling out an online travel voucher for my company. Is that to say that that opening up that travel voucher is easy, or is it hard?
Well, at least in this one, you're having like step-by-step, configuration. Sometimes when we're just doing the vouchers, we kind of have to do it by ear and just do it on our own. So I guess it differs in that sense.
So I wanted to come back to here. So now I've granted access.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
So
going to
now
go to
you
the
have your
query editor.
permissions. Yeah.
And
Okay.
now I've got, look, it's already here. It's already ready to go. But before I run my first query, again, this is just a setup thing because I haven't used this account before. I'm setting up a query location for Athena. Most of you probably have already done that a long time ago. But now I've got, and it went away. Hold on. So I think this is let me do this. Well, so this happened to me in my testing as well. I will put this here.
We have Kevin say it's the code, so many to choose from, and if we select the wrong drop down, sorry, you aren't getting reimbursed for hotel laundry.
So you saw that we had that catalog, here.
Mm-hmm.
It is here, but I'm going to use a little workaround to actually show some queries. So give me one moment.
Okay.
And while I'm doing that, Samara.
What was the issue that you encounter? I was reading the comments.
So I had the data catalog. I have the access to the data catalog for the table bucket, but then when I went to set my query location, it went away. It took my rights away.
Okay.
So it's just like I think a quirk of the role I have within this account. It's not necessarily something you'll encounter.
Okay.
So what I will do is give me one sec. So I'm just going to test to make sure that I have access, just to prove that I've got metadata.
Okay.
I'm just doing a quick select. Oh, and there's nothing in there. So let me try a different query. Give me one sec.
Hello from Uganda. Hello, Joseph.
Not using dark mode is criminal. That's true. I get it. Hold on, because now I'm trying to get the. It may take a couple minutes.
Okay.
So while we're doing that, folks, let's do something else, which is sign up for QuickSight. Because what I want to do is actually show both how we can query this in S3 pretty easily, and as well as do QuickSight. So let's sign up for a QuickSight account while we're waiting.
And I will plug something here. If you have not used QuickSight and then just kind of have a general knowledge of what it does and how to use it, go back to our community page. There's a couple of episodes there where I deep dive into QuickSight. So go back to those for reference. But okay, done. Go ahead, Matt.
So I'm just putting in fake email addresses. Don't mind me.
Okay.
To sign up for QuickSight.
Okay.
So why am I doing this? So we're doing this because I want to be able to add the S3 buckets here. I don't want pixel perfect reports.
Oh, yes, we have QuickSight. It's remarkably good. I agree. Love using QuickSight.
While we're doing that, let me go back to Athena and see if we've got our initial run yet. Still waiting. Okay. How do we limit number of workstations that are updating the same app session? Can you give me more details on that one? So while we're waiting for the data to populate, what I want to do is give QuickSight access to lake formation.
Okay.
So let's go back. I have too many browsers open. So we did the same thing last time. We granted these permissions over here, but the problem is that I don't know what the ARN is of the QuickSight user is. So I got to figure that out. So I'm just going to do a quick query for QuickSight. And I'm in US East 1.
I'm gonna make it bigger so I can see what you're.
Oh, yeah. I can make it bigger. Sorry, I missed. Oh, I just missed it one dash.
Okay.
So this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for this particular ARN of my QuickSight user so that I can go back here, grant. And so we need the SAML user or group to give QuickSight ARN.
Okay.
So I'm giving that. And then I'm going to give it access to our metadata bucket.
Okay.
Once again. So this is really just a permissions thing.
No tables.
And
then
the
what
same.
type of permissions?
The same, select, describe. And that should be good to go.
Okay.
So now, again, let me check my query one more time. Oh. Oh, and I see, look, I actually see it loaded in here now. So we're good. We're getting, things are cooking now. So thanks for everyone's patience. I know they were all biting. So if you are just joining us, because I know we'll over the half hour,
yes,
we are talking about S3 metadata, the new feature where you can have an S3, let me roll this back in. You can have in your buckets a S3 metadata configuration like this. And then we're getting to the point where now we can actually query it. So we can get real-time results from S3 metadata. So what I'm going to do here is just do a preview table and see if that pulls up results now.
Okay.
There we go.
There you go. You have them.
So instead of what we did before, back in 2021, which is we had the inventory file, it gave us that file once a day. We had to build the integration ourselves. I had to create those tables in Athena. This just did this for us. The only thing that I had to do special is give myself access to the data. But otherwise, we've got all the different metadatas here in a pretty decent format, I would say.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is not, something that you have to do like a lot of to really get into the details. However, I'm interested to see how you're going to integrate or how you're going to showcase this information within QuickSight, because that will make it even a lot more productive. So,
okay, don't rush me. Well, I wanted to ask the chat, what are some queries that you'd like to see? Does Table Bucket support all the file formats? So let's be clear, the Table Bucket is specifically for like Apache Iceberg files. And so having this S3 metadata. It creates a iceberg file. We're managing all of that for you on the back end and creating this for you. So it doesn't technically, it doesn't support all file formats. Let's be clear. Well, folks, I'll give folks an example of a common query here first, which is just like, what are my TXT files across my buckets?
Okay.
Because we could be pushing all of our S3 metadata from all of our buckets to a single bucket if we wanted to. So we've got just a list of all these TXT files.
Okay, so different departments, different type of data. Okay.
Or if you wanted to know like what were deleted in the last 24 hours. And this is something you could do from S3 inventory as well. Version ID, last modified. So, but you could do this like, in an even lower amount of time.
You said that this one was in the last 24 hours?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you could see it was touched today.
State. Okay.
Because I built the account today, of course.
So you could be very date specific. You don't have to just go through sort and try to figure out what date or anything like that. It could be very specific to like a set of data for a specific date.
Yeah. Or like, let's say you wanted to just like get like a list of your tags. Like this is a common thing for like cost allocation, maybe. You notice the sun has set. This is the funny thing about doing February here, or like even March, is like when we do these shows, the sun, it's dark now in my room.
Well, you know what? Actually, we introduced ourselves, but for those viewers that is the first time seeing me and Matt and coming into AWS Tech Tales, I am located in the Pacific time zone in the San Francisco Bay Area. And then Matt, where are you located?
I'm located in New York, just New York City.
So interesting that you say that, because here in California, during the winter months, it's like 5 p.m. and it's dark, and it seems like, it's nighttime. It's like time to go to sleep. Your body's like, okay, go to sleep now. But it's like, no, it's only 5 o'clock.
Hey, Ruben, welcome to the show. Please let us know if you have any questions as we're going through it. So we're towards the, let's see. Is there anything interesting here that we can query? This is actually an interesting one.
Okay.
If we wanted to. So I've got this by object tags, which again, we're seeing how many objects have personally identifiable data, if they're sensitive or not.
Sensitive, okay.
Or we can do just like, when have objects expired? Like, is there stuff that's expired from lifecycle policies, something like that? And nothing. Because nothing's expired yet.
Okay.
So it would take a little bit of extra time for that to kick in. So you have a lot of different options here, because again, you can go by bucket, key, sequence, size, last modified, what storage class.
I was going to say storage class. That would be like another thing that people will want to know.
Encryption status.
Versioning.
So we've done a lot of S3 stuff back in the day, but this will help. But let's go to QuickSight, because now I should be able to. We're just going to ask about table views. What's your question about table views? So let's build a data set for QuickSight. Hold on. All right, so I'm on a new data set source. I'm going to pull this straight from Athena. I'm not going to do it from S3 directly.
Okay.
And I'm also going to use custom SQL, because I'm going to do the same select query. So select from my table bucket.
Says means in general, like what was available in the list of table views. This isn't
Oh. Like over here, like what's available here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this is all from what's stock S3 metadata from your bucket that's going into an S3 table bucket. So I'm going to import this directly into Spice. And then we can just wait. So, oh, did I just lose it?
Looks like it. If you go back to your data sets.
Yeah, hold on. Okay. It didn't want to save.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. This is how you know we're doing this live, folks.
We have a question here. Do you need to bring data out of tiered storage on legacy data?
So you're going to the bucket level and you're coming to this new tab for create metadata configuration. So this is going to give you the inventory, give you that metadata from the bucket. So the objects themselves, they're still in Glacier. They're still in intelligent tiering. It's really what the information about the objects that's being stored. So that data gets to stay there. So now I'm going to visualize. We can start to build some visualizations.
And you're going to do the interactive. Okay, cool.
So I don't know, Zamara, what should we do? You're the QuickSight expert, so you can tell me.
I think that a pivot table will be best for this kind of information. Next to it, to the left.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let me make it bigger. Hold on.
And you can close out the properties. Yeah. So then you have to add the dimensions and the values. So what do you want to look at? It depends on the type of information that you want to showcase or visualize.
Yeah. Do you have any suggestions? Does the chat have any suggestions? I have other options.
Well, let's see. Chat, what would you like to see?
What's interesting? While we're doing that, let's see. Do I want to have it do it automatically, or do I want it? Yeah. So let's do. I would like to do. I care about object tags.
Okay.
Well, I don't want count of object tags. Oh wait, let me change it from pivot table to this.
Okay.
So now we have a count. Let me make this smaller, guys. We have a count of object tags. What do we think this would look better in?
Maybe a donut or bar graph. Let's see.
Donut. So then we've got, okay, most of these don't have any tags.
Mm-hmm.
But then we've got public, investigate, actionable, PI is true, PI is false. So we went from clicking this button to enable metadata to actually building a visualization. Objects by tag in minimal amount of time.
Not even a whole minute.
Yeah, like
that's what's so cool.
And that's really what we're solving for here. Because if we look back to, like, again, for folks that are just joining, we went back in time to 2015, and to do this same thing, we needed a Lambda function and a DynamoDB table, and we needed to be querying DynamoDB. If we did this in 2021, great. We can do an S3 inventory. We can get a file. We can do some of the same queries, but it wouldn't be instantaneous. I would be waiting a day for this info to even populate in a report, and it would be a historical report, not what we're doing right now, which is essentially querying it almost in real time. I mean, you can set the data refresh to be a bit whatever you want, but pretty cool.
And very interactive, very user friendly. I mean, if you do the work in populating all this information here into QuickSight, and then you have your team come in and kind of do more querying around it, it's a lot more straightforward. And I feel like it also like reduces the time of, kind of like setup and creates more productivity to actually get the insights into the information that you're looking for. Rather than kind of like going back and doing it every single time. It's like Matt said, just maintaining and make sure that it's refreshed and to the schedule that fits your use case. But then other than that, it's just kind of pretty much a straightforward setup and then just interacting going forward.
And you can even see like we've got, 2 KMS keys that are used across that bucket, about half and half, one in the other. So again, if you're trying to understand things at scale, if I want to do another visual, say, is it multi-part? Let me bring this down. Okay, we don't have any that are multi-part. That's good. So in the chat, do we know what does multi-part even mean?
All right, help us out.
No takers.
Drop some comments there.
We have no multi-part, or we have is bucket key name. Let's help. When we want to send a huge, perfect. So when we want to send a huge size, S3 transfers using multiple streams. This used to be my favorite cost optimization tip, because folks couldn't see years ago the amount of data that was stuck in S3 multi-part. File size such as 5 gigabytes or more, I think. So what happens is if you uploaded a file and the connection got kicked or you got stopped for whatever reason, then you'd have that little piece of the file still stuck in there and you wouldn't be able to see it because it was incomplete, but it was in your bucket and you were being charged for it. And we used to go as technical account managers, run these reports like, hey, there's all this secret stuff in your bucket that you could delete. Not the case anymore. You can use S3 storage lens. And again, a lot of this stuff that we're talking about here, of course, you can kind of do an S3 storage lens as well if you just want to get a macro view across S3. But here, again, if you're using this for specific use cases, again, if you're tagging your objects, you have a very complicated taxonomy and you need to do reporting on it, this makes it super easy and super quick.
I agree. Very efficient.
I'm trying to think of what else we haven't covered today.
I think that we did pretty good.
Yeah.
And actually, we didn't encounter, a lot of back and forths. So pretty good job on the demo there, Matt.
No, there was a lot of questions at the beginning, I have to say. So what I would say, folks, is again, let's share the workshop link out with everybody. If you want to try this in your own environment, this is the kind of lab that I like to show. Besides the QuickSight stuff, because again, if you're going to activate QuickSight, and you got to make sure you turn that off. But we'll share this in the chat. But if folks want to try this out, this is a pretty cheap lab to do yourself. And again, it's just to get familiar with the power of query language and Athena. You could just try it in your own buckets. Because again, really what we did for folks that, again, joined a little bit later is create this table bucket. I can't do anything with this table bucket, by the way. I can't even delete it. As you can see here, I need to go in the CLI in order to delete this. So it's just there.
So if you wanted to delete it, you have to go through the CLI. Is there a reason why it has to go through that way and we don't have the power to just do it through the console?
This is a relatively new feature, so I don't want to comment whether or not that's just like a new launch or something else. But yeah, that's That's the bigger question. I don't know.
Right, everyone. We have the time to take one more question. So if there is a question that is kind of just, kind of being going around your mind while we've been here doing the stream, it's your time now to drop it in the comments before we disconnect from this stream today. So yeah, drop your questions.
So what I would say to folks, if you're thinking about it, is again, play around, test this out. If you've got a bunch of stuff in S3 buckets, this might be pretty easy for you to do.
And then just make sure that you clean up afterwards, which like the workshops usually also give you the instructions on the cleanup after the labs. So just make sure that you do that as well.
Yeah, and I would say I when I ran this a few days ago, this cost me about 90 cents to run. Again, that doesn't really count the QuickSight stuff. But I feel like we should bring up the pricing. I'm just pulling it up to see how I can find the specific pricing on S3 tables. Here we go. So for folks that are looking to adopt this, what is my S3 table pricing? Guys, I hate to tell you, like everything in S3, it's super expensive, okay? It's going to cost you 2.6 cents. That's 2.7 cents if I round up per gigabyte in your S3 table. So, if you're looking at 100 gigabytes, you're going to look at a whopping $26 here for your storage. So this is a pretty cool thing. Usually we use it. Yeah. This is again, like if a glue crawler fails, you have to go and troubleshoot it. You don't have to troubleshoot this. It knock on wood just works, which I really like. And then we also have this maintenance pricing. So this is actually a good thing to end on, Samara, which is that what we're also doing in the background, because this is a fully managed service, is that we're doing compaction and we're processing the data. So what that means is it's not just like, oh, this is going to continue to grow. I've got so much metadata. It's going to continue to expand and I'm going to have to spend, hundreds of terabytes of storage. We're going to do some compression here for you. And we're going to charge you, a fourth of a cent to do that per 1,000 objects. But we're going to do this automatically. So again, you can turn off automatic compaction if you want, but this is home. So if you want to dig into what this pricing examples, and it's kind of weird that I said $26 and that's what's coming up here, but you can explore this. You can take a look. Again, if you are really interested in digging into the pricing calculator is the place for you.
The best way to go. Yes.
And if you have not heard, I will keep beating this drum every time we do price estimation. It is in the console now. So I don't know if I have access to it in this account, but my last little plug here before we sign off is it's going to give me a bunch of access denied. But you can see pricing calculator preview. It's going to yell at me and say, oh, so it's in the console now, folks. So you can check this out. You can build your own estimates within the console. You can save them. It's tagged to your user. It's not just calculator.aws anymore. And you can also import existing usage and make estimates out of that. So I think that's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. It definitely takes away that, like, oh, I don't know about this, I don't know about that, because he already has that information for you. So that's pretty cool. You don't have to kind of like reach out to different team members to try to figure out what it is that you're doing right now, and to also incorporate the new charges that you're forecasting for going forward as well.
So folks, we're at near the end of the hour. So what I will say is, if you liked what you saw, please leave us a comment. Please check out the show page at community.aws. Put a calendar reminder in. We'll be here every week. And next week, we're going to talk about app consistent snapshots, right? What the heck those are? Why are they different than normal snapshots? What is the problem that they solve today? So I hope that you come back next week or you watch the recording. For folks that are, again, you were off today. Thank you. If you weren't off today, sorry. And we'll see you around. Stick around on the channel. We have a lot of awesome shows that are just either starting up or starting their seasons. So make sure you subscribe to the AWS on Twitch. You stick around on the LinkedIn. And if you're checking us out on YouTube, hello.
Yeah, and
subscribe there.
And I just want to welcome all the new viewers that have, for the first time attended our stream. Nice to meet you all. It has been a great session interacting with you all and getting to know where you're all located globally. Thank you for joining today and being part of, our day and letting us being part of your day as we had this discussion. Can't wait to continue this interaction and continue learning going forward every Monday, 5 p.m. EST, 2 p.m. Pacific time, for those of you that are in the Pacific time zone like myself. And thank you all. And I hope that you all have a great week.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Take care.